Your axle just snapped. You're 800 miles from the town you left, and 1,000 from the one you're trying to reach.
Your flour ran out 4 days ago.
The bacon went green in the heat. Yesterday you drank out of a river because there was nothing else to drink. So did the 2,000 people camped upstream of you.
An hour ago, your stomach started cramping.
Everybody out here knows what that means. And the wagon behind you is going to go around you by noon. This is the Oregon Trail, not the one in the movies. 2,000 miles on foot in 1850.
Let's back up 6 months to the day you decided this was a good idea.
It's the spring of 1850, and you are almost certainly a farmer.
Not a cowboy, not a gunslinger, not a prospector with a dream.
A farmer with tired soil and too many kids. Somebody hands you a pamphlet about Oregon. It says, the land is free, the soil is black, and the wheat grows taller than a man.
It is more or less an advertisement.
And you believe it because the alternative is another season on ground that's stopped giving.
So you sell the farm, you sell most of what's in it, because getting to Oregon is going to cost you between $500 and $1,000.
In today's money, that's roughly $8,000 to $16,000. For a family of 4, that is everything you have. You are not chasing a fortune out there.
You are spending one.
First, the wagon. And it's not the big rolling ship you're picturing. A real emigrant wagon is about 4 feet by 10. That's a garden shed on wheels. Everything you own for the rest of your life has to fit inside it.
Then you need something to pull it. And here's your first surprise. You don't want horses.
You want oxen. Between 1840 and 1860, more than half the animals pulling those wagons were oxen. By some estimates, as many as 3/4. Partly it's the price. In the 1840s, an ox ran about $25. A mule was $75. But mostly it's that an ox will eat whatever grass is in front of it and keep going.
It doesn't spook.
It doesn't wander off in the night. It is slow, patient, and almost impossible to discourage.
Which, as it turns out, is exactly what this trip rewards.
Now here's the part the movies never show you. You are not going to ride in that wagon. Almost nobody did. The wagon has no springs, none. Riding in it for 10 hours is like being shaken in a wooden box for 10 hours.
And every pound inside it is a pound your oxen have to drag over a mountain range. So you walk.
Your wife walks. Your children walk. People rode only when they were too sick or too exhausted to stay on their feet. Most nights, you don't even sleep in the wagon. You sleep in a tent or a bedroll on the ground beside it. So take the image in your head. The family bouncing along on the bench, waving. The Oregon Trail is 2,000 miles of walking, and the wagon is just a very slow, very expensive suitcase.
You make about 15 miles a day.
That's a good day. You're up before sunrise and walking by 7. You're also walking in a cloud of dust kicked up by every wagon ahead of you, which is why the front of the train is the most valuable real estate on the trail, and why people argue about it constantly. You eat bacon, beans, coffee, and hard bread. Then tomorrow, you eat bacon, beans, coffee, and hard bread
for 4 to 6 months.
And somewhere in the second month, the trail starts talking to you because it's covered in other people's furniture. When you packed, you were sure you needed the dresser, the good dishes, the stove, your grandmother's clock. Then the oxen start slowing down and the hills start getting real. So you begin doing math you never wanted to do. And one by one, the things you loaded so carefully get set down at the side of the road. Emigrants describe stretches of trail lined with abandoned belongings. Furniture, trunks, cast iron stoves sitting in the open prairie like someone's coming back for them. A 2,000-mile record of the exact moment each family worked out what they actually needed. Now, the thing that was already happening to you in the first minute of this video, somewhere between 20 and 30,000 people died on the trails west. Estimates of the death rate vary. You'll hear as high as 1 in 10, while one careful study put it closer to 6%. Either way, the route picked up a nickname: the nation's longest graveyard. 10 to 15 deaths for every mile. And the number one killer wasn't a bandit, or a bear, or an arrow. It was cholera. Cholera comes from water fouled by human waste. And thousands of people are walking the same route, drinking from the same rivers in the same season. It could take a healthy adult in a single day. People wrote about walking beside someone at breakfast and burying them before dark. That's not a dramatization. That's the pace of it. Dysentery is the name everybody remembers. Cholera is the one that emptied the wagons. After disease, the biggest killers were accidental gunshots, wagon accidents, and drowning.
Start with the guns.
Most immigrants had no real training with firearms, and they were carrying loaded weapons every day for months. The first recorded accidental shooting death on the trail happened in May of 1841. The man reached for his rifle, muzzle first, and it went off. His name was John Shotwell. History occasionally writes its own material. Then there are the wagons themselves. Children walked beside those wheels all day, every day for months.
They got tired. They tripped. Some of them went under.
It's one of the most common causes of death on the trail, and it's almost never in the movies because there's nothing heroic about it at all.
And then the rivers.
You have to cross them, wagon and all, and plenty of immigrants couldn't swim.
A river you could wade across in August is a different animal in June. Which brings us to
The Circle of Wagon,
the arrows, the attack at dawn.
between 1840 and 1860, fewer than 350 immigrants were killed by Native Americans.
Across 20 years and hundreds of thousands of travelers.
Accidental gunshots killed many more people than that.
Most encounters on the trail weren't battles. They were trade.
Native nations sold immigrants food and horses, ferried their wagons across rivers, and guided them through country the immigrants couldn't read. Many wagon trains would not have arrived without that help.
And it's worth saying plainly,
Some immigrants arrived armed, frightened, and quick to shoot first at people who had come to trade. Meanwhile, the wagons really were pulled into a circle most nights, mainly to stop the livestock wandering off. It was a fence. The most famous image of the American West is a parking technique.
if you make it, you reach Oregon in the fall, 6 months older and considerably thinner.
You've walked 2,000 miles, buried people you loved beside the road, and left your furniture across 3 territories.
And what's waiting for you is not the black soil paradise from the pamphlet.
It's raw land, winter coming, and no house on it yet. Roughly 400,000 people made that walk. Not one of them did it because it was an adventure. They did it because staying still felt worse.
And the ruts are still there.
In parts of Wyoming, you can stand in a groove worn into solid rock by wagon wheels.
Thousands of them, in the same line, over 20 years.
So, how far do you think you'd have made it?
Be honest in the comments.